And this is Losing It 2025, and my camera is wobbly, so I'm trying to adjust it. There we go. That's better. Working without a tripod today. So it is lunchtime. I've got about 10 minutes that I have to spend here online with you, and if any of y'all show up, I will be happy to eat some overnight oats and talk weight loss or anything else you guys want to talk about. So today, I'm having overnight oats for lunch. Now, you might say, why are you eating oats for lunch? Because there's no wrong time to eat oats. I've always been a breakfast for dinner kind of person or a breakfast for lunch kind of person. Breakfast was always my favorite food of the day. Of course, back in those days, it usually included eggs and bacon and biscuits and all that good stuff. Nowadays, it's more like overnight oats. So for breakfast today, I actually had an awesome smoothie that had over 30 grams of protein. I had what I'm calling Ken's Perfect Meal Replacement smoothie for breakfast. And it is fantastic. I've actually posted the recipe on my community page. If you want to check that out, the full recipe is there. But the short answer on the oats, the short answer on the smoothie recipe is that it contains some sort of leafy green, in my case, mustard greens. It contains some kind of cruciferous. I went with cauliflower. It includes some type of fruit. I used a mixed frozen berry blend this morning, and it has a protein source or two. For protein today, I used my BBFL cocoa cream protein powder, and then I added a half cup of black beans, thereby pumping up not only the protein and the fiber, but also the satiation, keeping it all under 400 calories while getting over, 30 grams of protein was great. It was a really great meal. So that was breakfast. And so lunch is overnight oats. Now, this is my usual recipe for overnight oats. I've got a half a cup of oats, a full cup of soy milk, a tablespoon of chia seed. I went with 2 tablespoons of PB Fit powder this time, so I gave myself the extra scoop, and then a half a cup of blueberries. And that is the overnight oats recipe that I'm having for lunch. Excuse me a second. I dropped my notes where I had everything listed. So essentially, between the smoothie and the oats, that puts me at 17 grams of carbohydrates, mostly complex carbohydrates, only 12 grams of fat, and 52 grams of protein for the day. And that's just with my smoothie and the oats that I'm getting ready to enjoy here. In fact, if you'll take a moment to say hello, I'm going to take a bite of my oats. Please let me know where you're watching from. I'd love to see where you're at. Central Valley, hey, way to go. Yes, sir. I grew up in the central San Joaquin Valley. I'm all the way over here in Texas now. Loving the oats, awesome. The macros are incredible on these oats and on the smoothie. They're very, very well-balanced macros, absolutely. That's actually how I designed them. I went in with flavor in mind, right? Flavor was a thought, but the main thing was, how do I gamify the macros in this to give me the results that I want? I actually did something over the weekend that was a lot of fun for me. It probably would be boring. Yes, that's right. That's right. I remember that now. Yeah, absolutely. You remember the pumpkin festival they used to have out in, was it Merced? No, it wasn't Merced. Were you guys the garlic festival? There was a garlic festival and there was a pumpkin. Was it Ripon that had the pumpkin festival? I can't remember. But they had all kinds of great festivals out there for whatever type of produce was produced locally. Lots of great stuff. In Riverbank, we had the Wine and Cheese Festival. That was our big thing because they had all of those cheese companies. The Stanislaus Cheese Company was there, and of course the local great vineyards and wine producers would come out, and turned into a big craft show by the time it was all said and done. Yeah, I think it was Ripon. One of them had the garlic festival, and the other one had the pumpkin festival. I can't remember which one it was though. And anyway, so I forgot what I was saying. Oh, this weekend. That's right. So over the weekend, I went in and when I first started on my diet at 335 pounds in January of 2025, I was committed to logging every single thing I ate. And it was really important at that point that I do it because I needed to learn portion control. I needed to learn how to balance those macros, right? So for like 4 months, I logged everything. I still log. I just don't log quite as meticulously as I did then because I've sort of internalized a lot of what I'm trying to do. But in those days, I logged everything. So I have a really solid record of like everything that I ate for the first 3 to 4 months. And in those first 3 months, I lost 50 pounds. I lost 50 pounds in the first 3 months on a plant-based diet. So what I did over the weekend is I went in and I took screenshots of my weekly reports and I uploaded that to ChatGPT and I had it analyze it all for me. And it was fascinating to see the way that that it went through. Let's see, I am putting a scoop of protein powder in my oats now and more PB2 also along with chia seeds and almond milk. That's awesome. See, I use the soy milk instead of the almond milk because it has about 2 or 3 times the protein, but you're making up for that with that protein powder for sure. I went ahead on these and I went with 2 tablespoons of the PB2 because I wanted them to have a little more peanut buttery flavor. And I was running out of blueberries, so I only got half a cup of blueberries in them. Well, thank you guys for joining me for lunch. In addition to the smoothie and the oats, I've got a couple of snacks packed for later. I've got an apple here. That'll be my afternoon snack. And if I get really, really hungry, I've got a backup protein bar, PB2, not PB2, I'm sorry, a Builder bar. These, I love these. These have too much sugar in them, okay? I'm just gonna be honest, too much sugar. They are processed. This is not a whole food. This is a processed food. This is one of the exceptions that I allow myself because 20 grams of protein and they're delicious and they're filling. So those are my backup foods today, that and the apple. This, if you watched my apples video, you remember that huge bowl of apples I had last week? This is the second to last apple in that batch. We have eaten every one of those apples. And that was like 6 pounds of apples probably. And my family's gone through all but this one and one other very tiny one that is still left at the house. Yeah, apples are awesome. And that's, you know, if I'm wanting to snack and if I'm like trying to reach for food that I maybe shouldn't have, I stop, right? And I do what I call the BEAT, B-E-A-T method. And the first one is B, you breathe. So I stop and just take that deep breath. If you do that a couple of times, you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system and you're actually activating your vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve in your body. And it has a calming effect and it helps you pause and step away from that emotional eating. And then the second thing is you ask yourself, could I eat an apple? Would eating an apple suffice, right? And I call it the apple test. And if eating an apple sounds good, then I know I'm actually hungry. If eating an apple sounds like, oh no, I don't want an apple, well then it's not really hunger, it's something else that's going on. So that's the eat an apple test. Then the A in BEAT is you ask yourself how you're feeling. And you identify that feeling, and that helps you determine whether your snacking habit is connected to boredom or loneliness or frustration or what is the emotion associated with that. And by naming it, it helps you to assert more control over it. And then lastly, the T is take a positive action. Maybe go for a walk, do some journaling, say a prayer, call a friend, whatever you need to do to take some positive action. So yeah, apples are an integral part of that process for me. So these are my go-to snack, an apple. Love them. But, you know, I've only got about 2 minutes left on my lunch break, so I'm going to have to say goodbye. This was a really short live stream. We're only here for a little over 9 minutes. But if you're here, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, it really helps the algorithm, and I appreciate knowing that you enjoyed the live stream and the conversation. And in addition to that, if you are not subscribed to the channel, feel free to subscribe if you enjoy this content. I do random live streams, just pop-ups like this every once in a while, and I always enjoy getting to chat with you and answer your questions. So let's see, I'm gonna look at this last comment here. I've lost 1 to 2 pounds every week since I stopped dieting and started tracking my calories. and eating more like you discuss on your platform. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that it is having a positive effect for you, because to tell you the truth, this isn't a diet. I mean, we call it a plant-based diet, but it's not a diet. It's a lifestyle. It's a new way of eating. It's a new way of thinking, and it's a new way of relating to food. All right. That's all I've got for now. I'm going to have to run, but thank you guys for hanging out with me for 10 minutes or so this afternoon. I'll check in with you again soon. Have a blessed day.